So this isn't my story, but this is what I witnessed last night at the FLGS. I had gotten the email that my Pathfinder 2 ebooks had arrived, so I headed to the store last night to pick them up. There were two people setting up a gaming table for D&D. I'm assuming that the woman was the DM, as she was setting up the maps, the screen, and pulling notes out of her bag. But as the clerk and I were chatting about the upcoming Superman movie, what looked like the rest of the table entered the store. One of them looked at the guy who was with the woman during the setup and stopped dead in his tracks. He just stood there, looking like he was about ready to cry. Eventually he shouted, "You asshole!" sobbed, turned around, and fled the store. I looked at the clerk with a raised eyebrow, and he said, "He's been simping over the DM for weeks now, pulling the whole m'lady crap. I guess he didn't like the t-shirt that her boyfriend was wearing." I looked again, and saw what set him off. The guy who had been helping the DM set up, who I now know was her boyfriend, had a shirt that said, "I'm sleeping with the DM." I nodded, paid for my books, and got out of there before more drama hit. I do kind of wonder if they bought that shirt out of pettiness, or if they just happened to have it on standby. But the next one up is going to be a little fetishy, so brace themselves. I'm no stranger to D&D. I've been playing at my local game shop with various DMs and parties for about 6 years now. But about a year ago, I unknowingly walked into what could only be described as the most unhinged fever dream of a campaign that I've ever experienced. Our DM pitched the campaign as a dark, morally complex exploration of a dystopian fantasy world. Cool, I thought. Something gritty, something Games of Thrones-y. So I rolled up a half-elf rogue, and session 1 hit the ground running. After we did our intros in the tavern and everything, we were accosted by a band of hobgoblins and their regular goblin slaves. We were captured by an evil hobgoblin empire and sent to a labor camp. During the second session, my character, Lyria, was pulled aside by the guards for special processing. It turns out that special processing meant that I was being sent to a breeding factory. A factory where prisoners were forced to produce the next generation of alpha goblins to build an empire that would last 1,000 years. The DM then leaned in, smirked at me, and whispered in my ear, "Lyria's unique half-elf DNA makes her a prime specimen for her to spread her legs and breed." He then showed me an AI-generated picture of an alpha goblin that supposedly took the best aspects of humans and elves to create a master race. He then described the factory in excruciating detail. There were assembly lines, genetic analysis devices, gas chambers for specimens deemed unfit, and rows of prisoners. And those deemed fit were taken to a special room by a group of breeders, in which they would have their way with human, elf, and half-elf woman. He then went on to describe in the most graphic detail how they would do the deed. This was the most animated he got the whole campaign, and he kept describing it as the sexy side of D&D, which really grossed me out. I tried to object in character, but the DM shut me down with the classic, "Your character wouldn't be able to resist" excuse, and said that she was charmed by enough spells to make her enjoy it. So she's basically just a sack of holes for the goblins to use. And then he had the audacity to pull out a chart labeled "Reading Success Percentages." Is this guy just playing Fatal? What? And had me roll dice to determine my fertility. A nat 1 meant that I died instantly from the feed, and a nat 20 meant that I became their breeding mare for their empire. He then said, "As long as you don't roll a nat 1, you can still go on quests while pregante." I then got up and noped out of the session. The barbarian player followed me, muttering something about needing ear bleach, while the DM kept yelling about how this is crucial to the story and that you can come back for revenge if you want. I'm not afraid to kill off some of the breeders. And it's a dark world. What did you expect? But no. Maybe for some people, but not me. I just hope anyone who jumps into this shit show knows exactly what they're getting into. Please keep the stuff in your spank bank, and don't subject others to it. Thank you, and good day, you creep. If you want to play a fatal game, then advertise it as such. Don't masquerade it as D&D. Plain and simple. I also don't know why the OP here would attempt to do anything in character and not just immediately get up and go, no. The split second any of the fetishy crap was brought up. But that's it for that one. I'll give you a couple of seconds to purge that from your memory. You good now? Good. Next one up is about a DM that tried to force the OP to drink mysterious liquids. Alright, so this isn't that crazy, but here's my entry. So, I live abroad in Taiwan, and a couple of years ago, I was trying to find a game to play in, as I really had the itch to play, because I hadn't done so since I had lived in the States. I posted on a foreigners group asking if anybody was interested in playing, and I got some interest from this guy who said that he and his girlfriend were going to start a game up, and that it would be her first time. I was kind of excited about the idea that there would be another woman in the group, because I had had some bad experiences abroad with all-guy groups. He had pitched it to me as roleplay heavy, and kind of relaxed because he didn't want to scare away his girlfriend. He said that it would be chill, but unfortunately that turned out to not be the case. The group chat is where it all really started to go bad. It wasn't anything insane, but the guy was just really incessant. I already hate group chats, and this guy was messaging at all hours of the night and getting kind of upset if we didn't message him back quickly. No big deal though, I know DMing is a lot of work, and probably he was just anxious to get stuff set up. We were going to play Lost Mines of Phandelver, which I thought would be good because it is the opener module, and he said that his girlfriend was new. After a while of setting up the game, he started to lay out some rules that were definitely not chill. For example, one of the things that he said was that we needed to all be in costume because his girlfriend really liked the idea of dressing up, but didn't want to feel like the odd one out. I absolutely love doing weird bits with costumes, it's actually one of my favorite things. But I just kind of got a bad vibe that he told us that we had to. Because I also can't guarantee that I'm going to have a costume every single time, considering that I was going to have to ride public transport to get there. He also was going to make potions, and whenever we drink a potion or any consumable, we were actually going to have to drink his alcoholic drinks that he would put in these potion bottles. Again, a really cool idea and concept, if it comes up organically. But I just found it weird that it's like, no, you have to drink my vodka shots every time you want healing, or any other potion. The final thing that really got me was that I had created a male character, and my husband had created a female character, because why not? He all of a sudden started asking lots of questions about us, and making sure that this wasn't some sort of kink thing, which it absolutely wasn't. I just wanted to play a male character, and I thought it was weird that that was the first thing that he jumped to. On top of this, he kept interrogating me and telling me that he didn't want to think that I, as a woman, could do a convincing male voice, and that it would probably break immersion for his girlfriend. He kept underlining and building the fact that this was roleplay heavy, and that he expected me to roleplay with a voice. And he demanded voice notes where I did male voices. I just kind of ignored this because I know I can do it, and this isn't a job. I assured him that I have been role-playing for a long time, and I was in theater, and he shouldn't worry. I would bring roleplay. He just really wouldn't give up on that point. And I wasn't going to do this, so I just kind of stopped responding after a while. And that's when he went absolutely nuclear, sending me 30 messages about how he had spent $1,300 on sets and costume pieces and modular terrain. And I was like, well, I didn't ask for that. It's not my problem. Anyway, I blocked him and decided to start my own campaign as a first-time DM, and that's been going on for 2 years now. So, happy ending. Yeah, you probably avoided a proverbial bullet on this one there, OP. The story could have been worse if we might have ever heard the story at all. But that's it for that one. The next one up, and the last one for today, is about a subject that I am very, very tired about: artificial intelligence. Okay, so before I start, I just want to preface this with, if you support or use AI art generation, I don't care. You do you. I'm not here to give you a lecture about the ethics of it or anything like that. We, as in myself and my friend who is the DM of this campaign we are running, personally do not. Right, so, for the past month or so, we've been running a Witcher-themed campaign. It's been a pretty fun time, and the races that are already part of the setting fit surprisingly well with the standard D&D rules. The whole idea is a sort of low-stakes side plot that is happening in a parallel with the events of the Witcher 3 game, although featuring more mundane characters. To give you an idea, we've got an alcoholic dwarf farmer who fights alongside his pet goat. Anyway, one player, who I guess we'll call AI Bro, has been with us for a while. Until recently, he seemed pretty laid back and just an overall average dude. Our time zones rarely matched up, so he mostly only hopped on for the game itself, and was usually the first to log off, which meant that we didn't really get to know him all that well. No big deal, of course. Everyone's got their own lives, and we're all adults. But that did mean that, when what happened happened, it completely caught us off guard. When it came to the visuals, like locations, creature references, and so on, my friend, the DM, mostly just used screenshots from the game itself that he took and edited together. AI Bro didn't seem to have a problem with that, but during yesterday's session, he suggested that it would be cooler if we just used AI art, and he could make some for us. My friend said that there was no need, but the gesture was appreciated. AI Bro then had asked why. My friend simply explained that he wasn't into AI-generated stuff. And when I say that Bro completely lost it over that, I mean it. The dude went off on the most random insecure rant that you've ever heard, talking over everyone who, like us, just wanted to go back to playing the game that was going fine until then. He was saying things like his art was just as valid, and that it's time that people start acknowledging that or whatever, even though no one was saying otherwise. I could almost see him frothing at the mouth as he went on and on, pretty much arguing with himself for a solid 20 minutes. He probably would have even kept going if the DM hadn't kicked him off of the call. We let AI Bro join back in a few minutes later after he had supposedly calmed down. But even though he was less angry, he still kept bitching and throwing in snide comments. Another player, who is an actual physical artist, foolishly tried to explain why some people have issues with AI art. This kicked off another rant from AI Bro about how being an artist isn't a real job anyway, and that she shouldn't be mad at tech since it can do what she does, but better. Which, I mean, she wasn't. Again, we were all cool with agreeing to disagree, but at the end of the day, it's our game, and we decided what goes in it. Eventually, the DM did actually end up booting him, due to him refusing to drop it. But, yeah. Probably one of the most random blowouts over nothing that I've ever witnessed. Oh boy. Right, so I don't want to turn the outro here into me complaining for the next 20 minutes on AI and whatnot, so I'm just going to make it short. I have a lot of issues with AI stuff in general. It has become ever-present in modern society, it has become a marketing term, and I personally have been a victim of people stealing my art, dewatermarking them with an AI, slapping their own crappy name onto it, and then calling it their own and trying to sell it. So, as far as I'm concerned, AI has done a significant amount of damage, and brings very little value to the table. There can be some good, legitimate use out of it, but as it is right now, there are way too many people who are misusing it, and this current trajectory is more than likely going to stay that way. But that's the end of this one. Thank you for watching, have a good one, and if you would like to support me, you can do so through Patreon, commissioning a map for your own D&D tabletop adventures, or alternatively, if you would like, you can also watch me on Twitch or my archive channel, which will be linked in the description. But, ta-ta for now.